Well, I don't know what happened. We were just slinging dirt, and now she won't move. Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, the duster's in the garage. Let's throw some tools, some parts, and some time at this thing. Let's see if it'll run. Let's go. We got the duster in the garage, as you saw. Now let's go over our little parts pile. So we got a brand new OEM Mopar electronic distributor. It's got the little wiring harness, the brain box. Brand new distributor with vacuum advance. Got that from Summit. And then I got a new ballast resistor. I didn't realize this came with a new one, but that's always good to have. Got intake gaskets and valve cover gaskets. Not doing those yet, but it will be getting a 4-barrel. If the 318 is good, it'll be getting a 4-barrel. And if the 318 is not good, whatever engine gets put in the car will have a 4-barrel. And then our small rock auto order, it's mostly just maintenance stuff. We got a fuel pump, 2 oil filters, 2 fuel filters, spark plug wires, air filter, and a new oil drain plug. So nothing too exciting. Say goodbye to the Ward's Not So Best. There we go. Here's the hold down plate. And there's the Ward's Best. Interesting looking insides compared to what I've seen. Distributor is out. Let's pull these plugs. They look kind of fresh. The fresh oil, fresh plugs. I'm hoping someone didn't do what I'm just doing to find out that the motor's bad. But worst case scenario, all this stuff, I mean, the distributor, plugs, wires, all that stuff can go on to whatever replacement small block I find. So all right, we got the new Mopar Performance distributor. Got the O-ring all oiled up. Let's drop this sucker in. All right, I'm dumb and didn't push the record button. So we got the ECU mounted over here. From what I researched, a 72, the ECU is mounted right here, and then the 73s were there. I like that better. Obviously a 70 didn't have an ECU. Now it does. So it'll identify as a 73 for that. And the inner fenders are ugly and it'll get replaced eventually anyway, so I can always change it. So time to do some reading and figure out how to run this wiring harness. So after a ton of diagnosis, we finally got something. Got the 318 sitting there. Lo and behold, the brand new Mopar Performance ECU for the distributor is bad. I spent hours chasing wires, making sure stuff tested fine, assuming this was good, testing everything around it, and this ended up being bad. So I had an old crusty one sitting on the shelf, which is funny because I've never had a car or truck with this style ignition system, so I'm surprised I even had one. And we had spark. So let's give this thing a bottle and hit the key and see what it does. All right, fire in the hole. Probably all it's going to run with a little bit of gas in the bowl, but as you can hear, it's definitely loud. It just has manifolds with no exhaust, so that explains that. But it doesn't seem like it rattles or knocks terribly. I mean, obviously it's kind of difficult to tell with no exhaust, but I think it's good enough to try and see if it's drivable. So we're gonna keep messing around a little bit and check a couple more things, and we'll get back to it. Welcome back, YouTube. So in the last video you saw the 318 does run, but it wasn't running very long or very good because we had no fuel system. Today we're gonna put a fuel pump in it, try to rig up a small temporary supply system so it can run on at least a gallon of gas or a couple gallons of gas. I haven't gotten any throttle linkage hardware yet, whether it's a return spring or what I'm kind of missing there. You can see one issue standing here, but we'll try to mess around with that stuff a little bit. Hopefully I don't have to pull that 2-barrel carb off, because if I pull the carb off, I'm not going to want to put it back on. And I don't want to get that crazy into this car yet. I just want to get it to run and drive out of the garage, into the shop, in and out of storage for the winter time. It's just so much nicer if you can have a project that you can throw a battery in and a little bit of gas and it'll just kind of drive in and out, whether it has brakes or no brakes or whatever. It's a big pain to have to tow it in and out, and my driveway is a hill and it sucks. So that is my goal. Fuel pump, fuel supply, throttle stuff. Fingers crossed that the carb works good enough for who it's for. And then we'll maybe try to drive it. Who knows? Maybe the tranny shot, maybe the drive shaft will fall out, maybe the engine will fall out, something. Who knows? But stick around and we'll get after it. First thing we're going to start with, we got our new Carter fuel pump and our new Wix filter. Looks like the hard lines and everything are in pretty good shape. We'll cut that filter off, and hopefully the alternator's not too much in the way. There's not a lot of fender well room on these A-bodies, but we'll wiggle that out of there, get the new one in, and kind of rig up our temporary fuel cell here. So let's get started on that. So the fuel line is off. Looks like we got two 9/16 head bolts to get the fuel pump off. I don't know if I'll be able to get a wrench or a ratchet on there. We'll try a small ratchet first. So we got a ratchet on there. Let's see if we can break them loose. Not a lot of room in there, but these standard American V8s, most of the fuel pumps are in kind of the same spot, so there's not a ton of room to begin with. On the international pickups, there's plenty of room, so those are really easy, but not too bad. The fuel pump is off. It definitely feels like it's not doing much of anything, if not nothing. I ended up having to swing the alternator up. Just this hard line wasn't going to come off when I was down there, and I didn't want to wreck that. So I just swung the alternator up. Got the open hole. I'm going to try to fish something in there and kind of see if the timing chain's loose or not. If it is, that's definitely something for another day. But I figure might as well while I got it opened up. So let's get this line off. Get the gasket on the new pump, swing that down there, put it all back together. Don't you just hate it when bolts are just tight enough, you can't do them with your fingers, but just loose enough where it's a pain to do it with a ratchet? You're supposed to do it at a quarter turn at a time, I guess. Okay, a little jump in time. We got the fuel pump in, alternator back on, new fuel filter with lines. Always make sure your arrow's pointing the right way. I don't usually always run these plastic ones on running cars, but it's nice on a project so you can make sure fuel is pumping or flowing, or if you're running an old crappy fuel system, you can see what's getting in the filter before it goes into the carb or whatever. But once it's running and driving all kind of clean, I'll usually swap that out for a metal one. We turned it into a race car. We got a fuel cell in the cab, nice and safe. Fuel line running through the rust hole, see? You don't always need mint floorboards to get a car running. That's what the holes are for. You just run the fuel line through along the frame rail up to the pump, good to go. We have a small engine, I don't know what it was from, spring and a piece of wire as a return spring. Nice and tight, probably a little too tight. Too big of a battery out of the Cummins. What else can we ask for? I did realize I haven't timed this yet. It ran for 10 seconds before, should run for 20 seconds now. If it will stay running, I'd like to put a timing light on it, get it a little more dialed in. But let's see if it's going to pump fuel while it cranks and if it'll stay running. It's going to get loud, it's probably going to get smoky, it's going to get dusty, but let's give her. Alright, I just saved 30 seconds of your life. I cranked it over. We got a splash of fuel. I didn't realize the fuel in that race can, or boat can I should say, looked that bad. I just had that green truck running on it a couple months ago, but we'll give it a shot. See if this thing will go. no idea why it's running so good. I literally put that distributor in by eye, and we have fuel leaking. That's good. Yeah, this thing sounds really good for, I don't know how long it's been sitting, 20 something years. Why is that leaking so bad? Oh dang. Wow, this is great. I'm a little bit more stoked than I thought. I think we might have to air up the tires and see if this thing will go into gear. All right, guys, we got a couple things buttoned up. We got air in the tires. I made sure the coolant was topped off. Tried tightening up that filter clamp a little bit more. Hopefully that's done leaking. It's almost dark. Let's go see if it'll drive. I don't know if I got this. I don't know if it'll close. Good enough. All right. Hopefully, well, I guess we gotta get it started, don't we? Neutral. Let that fluid circulate in the pump a little bit. Holy shit, the dome light works. That's crazy. I'm sure nothing else does. Alright, a couple quarts of tranny fluid. Let's see what she does. We're moving, guys. I have no brakes, just so you know. It's probably still really low. We're moving. Oh, my dog's gonna get ran over. Oh, baby. Better now if fluid's moving through it. All right, a day later and we got the duster back outside. As you've seen in the dark clips, it runs and drives now. Let's get this thing fired up and take it for another little rip and see how she does in the daylight. It's probably twice as ugly, but probably a little bit more fun.
Well, I don't know what happened. We were just slinging dirt, and now she won't move. So I guess that'll do it for this video. She runs and drives. I don't know if something came unhooked or what, but it just went from moving really good to not moving at all. So maybe something in the linkage for the tranny or something. I don't know. But we have a running, driving, dirt throwing duster, making dust. So like and subscribe. Keep coming back for more. Thanks.